everyone, Dark Ramos here with the Volume Profile Nerd. I'll jump into my trade review for today, Thursday, May 25th, 2023. And I'll give a quick overview of what I was looking at and kind of the ruling reason for today. So the ruling reason for me this morning was we had a very large gap up open on NQ. Overnight inventory was net long on both ES and NQ, so we did have a gap up on both ES and NQ. And for me, it was all about if ES was going to fill the gap. For me, like NQ filling the gap wasn't a high probability scenario, given how much out of balance we were from yesterday's range and how much we were gapping up. So yeah, for me, it was looking for buyers to continue to press the issue after such a big move yesterday. And I wasn't too surprised with the profit taking initially. I did have some very big learning lessons today as far as when to go with the momentum initially and then wait for the scales to tilt, right? Because it takes time for the scales to tilt. It doesn't happen, usually doesn't happen right away, especially after an aggressive move up or down. And so I have to continuously remind myself of that because that was the biggest learning for me today and something that I'm continuously reminding myself of. So yeah, that was kind of the idea. So we did have a pullback, some profit taking initially. But we were scouting like hourly higher lows on the ETFs. If I can grab it here. So QQQ, yeah, we were scouting hourly higher lows above, the low of yesterday. So we got, the pullback, hourly higher low, and then headed up from there. ES did fill the gap. So that was, that would have been a good play on ES off the high of yesterday or the regular trading hours high. So what that looks like here is, yeah, we held it a few times like bear breaks with no follow through. Or, we held this range that I had from, I'd have to scroll back, but it was right here from Tuesday, May 16th. I thought this was a nice range there, so I added it and we held it. We held it in the regular trading hour session, held it here, bounced and held it again here, and then got a bit higher. But that was, that's over 30 points, assuming you get the high here. But yeah, over 30 points on ES. And I'm just looking at these levels. Yeah, we got right to the value area high of, I'm digressing a little bit, just noticing some levels here on ES. We got to the value area high of, I think I had it on the hourly here. Yeah, the value area high of this range here. Okay, so yeah, that was ES. So we did get to the high of yesterday and didn't find much acceptance under it. XLF was a bit sideways most of the morning. XLV was weaker, so I think there was relative strength on NQ. Yeah, most of the day there was relative strength because XLV was weaker and XLF was just sideways most of the morning, and then did have a pullback later in the day, but then recovered later near the end of the day. So yeah, that was my kind of ruling reason. The levels that I was looking at on ES, and I went over it in my morning prep. I got to post that as well. But the levels I was looking at today, I mostly was using kind of 1 minute ranges, but I knew we had this hourly structure from 8:17:22 to 8:18:22. And I thought if we held the value area high or didn't find acceptance back into it, we could get back into this 8:15, 8:17 range, which is pretty much exactly what happened. And then we pulled back from here. I had some good shorts in here that I could have held a bit longer, and one I got stopped out right to the tick at the top, and I didn't want to re-enter. I got risk-free, but I didn't want to re-enter because I was happy with the day, and I just chalked it up to a learning lesson of give a little bit more wiggle room, maybe set it at the high, because it was 4 contracts, and I sold 3, so I could have left a bit more wiggle room. But just a good learning lesson there. But yeah, so we didn't find acceptance into this hourly range. We held this 1 minute range that I had drawn up here. We held it pretty much to the tick at the low, and then that set the low of the day, this 1 minute range. And we bounced from there. And it was also, I believe, yeah, it was close to the value area high of this overnight session. I don't quite use overnight session ranges as much, but it was a nice EQ, so I felt like adding it. We held the value area low here in the overnight session, and then we couldn't find acceptance back into this overnight range in the regular trading hour session. But I thought this regular trading hours range told a bit of a good story as well. We held the value area low right, almost to the tick twice. Maybe 1 point off here, but then here it was like right to the tick almost. But yeah, we got the bounce from there. So I was scouting the that hourly higher low on the daily. The daily told a really good story as well. We had this daily POC from 3.722 to 3.1622. Once we couldn't get above that hourly range around here, we pulled back all the way to the POC and pretty much held it to the tick as well. I should have been paying a bit more attention to this for my short, because I could have gotten a really nice short here. But I got some of it, but and that's the thing, that's another big learning lesson for me. Like trading, this is why I like to kind of be immersed in my own kind of process and thinking at the moment, because there's things that I'm uncovering about myself as I learn more about how I trade. And it's like, okay, like, yeah, I can be good at picking spots and locations, but am I willing to sit through a good trade thesis and let it play out to a larger target? And on the micros it's easier than the minis, because on the micros I can sell half, then I can sell another contract at a point where I think buyers could potentially step in, and then I can leave one more contract to get to target. But on minis, I'm only using 2 contracts. So once I get risk free, that last contract, looking at my P&L, like I'm like, do I really want to sit through drawdown, or sit through, after seeing that one contract go up quite a bit, do I want to see it diminish? And that's a pretty big psychological thing, I think, or mental thing, where I have to, like, yeah, I'm getting better at picking my spots, but the ability to sit through, a lower high, let's say it's a short, and the ability to sit through that lower high to get to that target is a learning of itself. And I told myself as I was in the trade, like, 1 minute stair step it, and it would have netted me another maybe like 20 points on the minis. But I'll go over that trade. But just nice to see how these levels kind of were respected here. We held it here, got all the way back to the POC, held the POC, and bounced from there. So a lot of, could have been some nice plays here, or yeah, there was some nice plays there. And what that looked like here on the hourly, yeah, I think we probably held this this little range here, and yeah, we couldn't even get to it, and then we bounced from there, which was like the POC. It was like, yeah, 13. The low was 13.94125, and we took off from there, which was close to this POC at 13.94050. All right, and yeah, let me go over my trades, because I'm starting to get into like everything that I was looking at. But I'll go over my trades, and the one thing that I'm really liking, and I'll probably stick to it for a while, it's probably one of the cooler things that I think that I've done with my approach to trading. And I don't want to label it or anything, but it feels nice. So what I do on the morning is I just trade micros, and I don't trade the minis until I see a setup that is just like talking to me. And that I'm patient for, and that I'm waiting, and that I'm saying, okay, if this happens, then I'm going to enter the trade. And what this allows me to do is first warm up. So I'm warming up with the micros, and if I take a few losses, it's okay. If I take a few wins, it's okay. And it's just a warm up. Like, it gets me in kind of the flow of the day. and it starts to show me, okay, where am I being impatient? Where am I jumping in? And what am I doing well? Like what am I doing well, essentially? And all that starts to build like conviction and confidence, and allows me to look at the levels, allows me to see, okay, what are buyers doing? What are sellers doing to prove it? What are buyers doing to prove it? What scenario is playing out that I've laid out? What levels are we respecting? And what are the probabilities that buyers take over given the context of all of the morning prep and the TA, and things that I've prepared for, and the higher time frames, and the idea that we're out of balance, and buyers could be potentially looking to press the issue and things like that, looking for an hourly higher low, and all that stuff. So yeah, given context and then playing with the micros, it just allows me to warm up, get into the flow, and then after that, I can wait for some ideal setups. And yeah, just only using the minis when something like really nice presents itself. So yeah, I don't think I have anything more to say about that, but it's nice because I think like in any sport, I feel like you have to warm up, you have to practice, right? Like, KD or Steph, like I'll use KD for example, like he, or any basketball player essentially, like they're not just going to jump into the court. That's why you see them, their warm up routine, they have to warm up, get everything flowing and going. And so they'll shoot and they'll miss a couple shots, and then they'll start making them, but they have to like get out those kinks first to start to get into the flow. And so I think that's a really nice kind of analogy for it, because that's kind of what I feel like playing with the micros does a bit. So yeah, I'll go over the trades I took and the lessons I took from today. So am I 12 minutes in? Okay. So yeah, so initially we got the big flush. We had the open right up here. Then on NQ we got the big flush. And actually, let me go over the 1 minute ranges that I had drawn up. I think it's kind of, these ranges, like they came into play pretty well today. So I had this 1 minute range drawn up, then this 1 minute range from May 22nd, 23, this 1 minute range from May 23rd, so Tuesday. This was Monday. Yeah, this was Monday. This was Tuesday, and then I had a few ranges down here from Tuesday and Tuesday. So those were the ranges I had drawn up, and the whole idea is that, yeah, we were gapping up pretty big on NQ, and that's what I was, the morning prep and the kind of the idea for the day, which I'll post my morning prep video as well. I have a tendency to kind of go over my morning prep in my trade review, so I'm going to try to kind of keep it a bit more succinct in my trading review. But I like going over all the levels and stuff. It's just nice to see and kind of look at. But yeah, I'll go into the trades I took today. So first thing in the morning on the open, we had a big flush. So the other thing on the morning, actually, I was considering this trade here, like a short off the POC and setting my stop above the value area high. I wasn't really considering it because trading pre-market just doesn't put me in a good mental state. But it's cool to see how we just rejected from the value area high initially at the open and couldn't find acceptance above, and then we just had the flush down, and that value area high I think coincided. Yeah, it coincided right with this POC of 815. 815. 815, 817, 22. We couldn't get above it in the overnight session, which I was kind of watching, and then we just kind of had like a little 1 minute lower high off the value area high of this 1 minute range, and then we had the flush. So just something I was observing. If I was feeling a bit more conviction and playing in pre-market, I think that was a decent play. Maybe grabbing this lower high here and then setting the stop here. I thought, I think that could have been a decent play given how out of balance we were this morning and how much overnight inventory was long from yesterday's session. But yeah, just, taking those ideas and, reiterating them, because I think every session just teaches me or shows me a lot, and yeah, teaches me a lot. Okay, so first thing in the morning, we had the flush down, and this is when I think I could learn to be I guess, a bit more aggressive with my ranges, because after this big flush down, we had this 1 minute range, and the likelihood of us breaking above this 1 minute range and then filling this gap here right away, I don't know how likely that is given how aggressive that short move was. So, in hindsight, for me, like if I have these ranges drawn up, like we get this like 1 minute lower high, 1 minute bear flag, and then we get back into the range. I think after we close in this range, I think a sell here is pretty reasonable, and my stop would, probably go close to the high here. But yeah, it's like early in the morning, and I'm just catching my bearings, so I'm not looking to jump into a trade right away. But then we get this pullback, we reject from this POC here, and then we flush down to the value area low. And for some reason, yeah, I decided to go long here because I'm just thinking that, like, given the outsized move from yesterday in the overnight session because of NVDA earnings, and tech like getting a boost, I thought buyers might be looking to, really step in aggressively. And yeah, given how big the gap was, and feeling like we weren't going to fill, that entire gap, it was like, I think over 200 handles, or 200 points. But yeah, I just, once we held this value area low, I went long here to at least try to get to the POC. I knew if we at least got to the POC, I'd get risk-free, but I entered here. I did get risk-free here because it was 5 points in, and then I got stopped out here. And this is where, like, I started realizing, like, the learning lesson here. We just had a really aggressive move down. It's going to take some time for the market for the scales to tilt a little bit. And that's what I got to keep reminding myself of. After an aggressive move, it does take time for, the scales to shift a bit. So, we got below here, got here, held the value area low, couldn't find acceptance above, got to this range down below here, couldn't find acceptance into this range, 5-second higher low here, couldn't get to the value area high, and that could have been a go signal, like for buyers to get to at least this value area low, right? Because we have this gap here. And I just didn't enter here because I thought I don't know, I didn't think to go long here, but could have been a good long entering here with my stop under this value area high. We bounced, got underneath this range, then got back into it, and I looked for the long here, thinking that we could get to the POC here, but just a little bit early. And that's what I got to remind myself as well. Sometimes it takes time for buyers to test a level, or buyers and sellers to test a level. But yeah, entered here and got stopped out here because I'm only using 5 points. And then I entered again once we got back into the range. I entered here, got risk free here. So better trade location, I feel, here, because my stop was, I was close to getting stopped out, but I didn't, which was nice. So, like, sometimes I don't use the inflection points to enter. I wait to see if there's a bull break. But yeah, I'm getting better at it. Like, it's all a process. So I entered here, got risk free here, and then got stopped out here. And again, this is when I'm realizing, like, it's going to take a moment for the scales to tilt or shift. Here we couldn't even get to the POC of the range. We pulled back again, and this would have been a good short, I think, here, because here we couldn't even get to the POC. And that's kind of showing that buyers are not really in the mix yet, right? Because they could have at least tried to get to this POC, failed to do so. And I think here's a good short. Whenever we don't quite get to a level where buyers should try to test, and we get close but not quite, that is really nuanced information, but really good information, because it's showing that buyers are not that interested yet, right? Like, they're not jumping in right away yet. And so we get the big pullback, and a short here I think would have been very reasonable to at least get to this value area low, a value area high of this 1 minute range here. We pulled back all the way to the value area low, and that set the low of the day. And so, yeah, so after this, we get this, I went over these trades here. Yeah, this was risk-free. This was a loss, but risk-free here. After this, we hold this low. We get a bounce. Couldn't get to the POC, quite to the POC. We bounce again. And this is where I was a little bit too aggressive looking for the long. Like, okay, so here's a good example. Here, the long, I think, was more reasonable. Why? Because we had a convincing bull break above this range. We back tested, couldn't quite get to the value area high, and then we got the move going. This long that I took wasn't the same, and I didn't quite like it. And like reviewing it now, I think is very important because there's a reason why it's not as good of a long as maybe this one here. The reason is because we bounce, we couldn't get to the POC, we bounce again, we don't get a bull break above and then back test. I went long once we got a little bit above the value area high. I went long here, and then I got stopped out here. So the better trade would have been something like this. We bounce, and then maybe we get close to the value area high, or entering at the POC here, or waiting to hold the POC and entering here to get to the value area high here to at least get risk-free on that trade, right? So if I enter here, this is 6.2, I'm getting risk-free up here. And then I can see if the trade rides a bit, and if, where I want to chop, I'd probably, chop close to here, and, which is what I did. So I took this loss here, and after this is when I realized, okay, we held the POC, now we got above the value area high. I entered here, and honestly, the better trade location would be here, but after seeing us hold the POC and getting above the value area high, I was like, yeah, and here we can't quite get to the value area low. I was like, okay, like buyers could be looking to get to the value area low here. So I entered the long here, got risk free here, sold another contract here, almost at the high here of this here, right here, because we were close to this value area low range. We ended up pulling back, tested it again, a bit more convincingly, the value area low, pulled back again, but couldn't get to the value area high. And this is when buyers started to prove a bit more. And honestly, my target was, if we look at the hourlies, my target was 13.9, like 15. Yeah, my target was, let me try to find where it is. Yeah, my target was the value area low of this hourly range from 815, 817. And it was at 13,915, and I was looking to front run it a little bit. And actually my target was like 13,918, which was the value area high of this 1 minute range. So yeah, let me just make sure that I didn't change anything here. Okay, cool. So yeah, that was my initial target. And once I saw we held the POC here, my target could have been the POC. It was close. It was, the value area high was about 10 points more. But once I saw this clear rejection from the POC, I exited my trade here because I was like, that's not great, right? Like, if sellers are going to do this, then I'm going to wait for a better trade location, and see if buyers can step in a bit more convincingly. So that's what I did here. I just cut it here, and I said, okay, let's see if buyers step in a bit more convincingly, and we'll see. So yeah, cut the trade here, but it was a nice win on the micros, and I think I'm up here. I'm not quite sure, but by the end of all the micros, I was up a good amount. So I was like, I was not rushing to trade after the morning that much. But yeah, so that was a good win. Then I did take a full loss here. Again, I got to remind myself the more likely scenario here is a lower high. And so I got to be cognizant of that because I entered the long here. And, once we got back into this range, I entered the long here and then got stopped out here. So this was just a bit of an oversight. We got below the range, back tested. I could wait to see what buyers do here. The better trade would be something like this, right? Like there's always these scenarios that I can use along with my ranges. But took a full stop there. And so just got to be cognizant of that. So as I'm saying it, like this is why I think prepping with micros or warming up with micros is so important, because I start to pick up, okay, what am I overlooking? And the more I do these trade reviews, the more I keep reminding myself what to look for. And, the more picky I'll be, the more inclined I'll be to be like, okay, the move could happen, like, great, but like I can be more picky because I'm waiting for the trade to set up how I like it, right? Like I'm not jumping into it. I'm not playing just like off the ranges. I'm looking at price action and, what's the more likely scenario, and like here, like a lower high off this value area low is more likely than, like just V-shaping to the POC, and if we're going to get to the POC, it would probably look more something like this, rather than like this. So yeah, and if it does happen, like great, but that's where I can be more picky, and look for those spots that are a little bit, that I like a bit more, that I feel might be a bit more high probability. Okay, so we get the pullback, couldn't find acceptance below this value area low, and again, like this here is a better trade. Like we bounce, pull back, now we hold the value area high, and I don't love this one as much because we couldn't get to the POC here, so maybe sellers could try, which they did here, could try to get back to the POC. But we did bounce, and I kind of chased a little bit here. And the reason I did is because I felt like, okay, if buyers are going to hold this, they want to get maybe close to this value area low of this 1 minute range here. So I entered here, got risk free here, and then got stopped out here. And then I re-entered. So I was looking at this trade, and I'm not quite sure what made me want to take these trades. And I was looking back, I was even looking at the hourlies here. I was trying to figure out like what made me want to take the trade. I guess the only idea would be that I felt like buyers could get here, but I wasn't playing off of any like real support or ranges. I was just playing in the middle of like the possibility of us getting up here. And so I, with this one, like same, I chased, got risk free, and then got stopped out. Then I entered again here. I got risk free here, sold another contract here close to the value area low of this 1 minute range, and then I got stopped out here. So when I was reviewing my trades and adding these trades, I was like, why? Like that's not great because I'm just entering in the middle of it. Like I feel like it's high probability that we get here, more likely than not, because we're like halfway above here, and I think buyers do want to tag this here. But not playing off like real supports is not really how I like to do it. And I guess the only thing I could maybe see is this little bit here, but I don't even think I had it drawn up. Like maybe, we held the POC here, but it would have been had I drawn it up, I could have been like, okay, that's why I entered those trades, right? Because I think we're going to we held the value area low here, got above the POC to maybe tag this up here, which is what happened. But not using the range or not having it drawn up, I'm like, why did I take those trades? Like the better trade location would have been here at least to get here, from here to here. But I entered in the middle, which I don't quite like. So yeah, just got to be cognizant of that. All right, so my next trades were, after we got to this 1 minute range below here, we got below the POC, couldn't get to the value area low. And for me, that was like, okay, buyers are starting to prove a bit more because we almost got to the value area low here. Here we couldn't even test it. Then we get above the POC, and this is where I'm interested. So I entered long here to at least get to the value area high. Right, and this is a better trade location. We got up, bounced, and then we held the POC here. Or I entered a little bit before the POC, but entered here, like 13.61. So my stop would have been 13.56 down here. So I entered here, got risk-free here, close to the value area high. Then I sold another contract here near the value area high because I wasn't sure if this was, the buyer stepping in. And after this, my target was that 13 kind of 920 level, but I just sold too early. I had one contract left, and once I saw us rejecting from this value area low, I sold my last contract here, and that was a decent win. We did pull back. We held the value area high of this 1 minute range almost to the tick, then bounced, held the value area high of this little range that I just drew up, which could have been a decent guide here. So something kind of to pay attention to there for me once I see like a decent sideways range. And we held the value area high here a few times. But yeah, we got to this value area high, bounced to this value area low, pulled back, held this value area high, bounced, oscillated around here for a bit, and then we got the bull break from there. And we did get to that 3918 level, which was kind of my initial target that I was looking at, because it was kind of the value area low here of the value area low of this 815 817 hourly range at 3915. We did get a little bit above that, and after that we pulled back. Or did we pull back? No, after that it was just, bulls just kind of took over from there. So yeah, that would have been a nice target. So for me, it's like learning to stick to my plays and letting that one contract ride, which I try to do sometimes, and it's easier on the micros, but on the minis, when it's only one contract, that's something I have to work on. So after this, we get the bull break. We kind of convincingly get through this 1 minute range. We pull back, hold the POC, get a little bit below it, but don't find acceptance below it, bounce, and then we hold the POC here, and then we get a more of a bull break to the upside. So the lines in yellow are all micros, and then I did take a few minis a bit later. So once we got the bull break above here, I did enter here because I just felt like there was a lot of space here. But given this move, I could be a bit more patient waiting for some sideways. But I entered long here. I got risk-free here, sold another contract here because I was noticing some bull breaks with no follow-through here and here. So sold my other contract here, and this was 932. Yeah. So yeah, and I was watching. So we back tested the value area low on the pullback here, and then we bounced to the POC. So a lot of good plays here. So for me, it's just continuously like having conviction in some of these levels, and putting myself in higher, or risk-free scenarios to see if I can let a contract ride to some upper targets or specific targets. So I entered long here, got risk-free here, sold another contract here once I noticed these bull breaks with no follow-through, and then I got stopped out here, close to the value area high of this range. So that was a decent win. Then once I saw we got below the range, got back above and held it, like we couldn't find acceptance back into it, I entered long here, got risk-free here, sold another contract here, and sold my last contract here once I saw we couldn't get a bull break with no follow-through here. And in hindsight, this is where I got to learn to get better at either letting one contract ride to an upper target or moving my stop at the higher lows. Could have moved it like this to get to, this POC here, or even to the open. Because after I saw this, I was like, okay, maybe buyers get to the open, and I should have had a bit more conviction that we could get there. And yeah, just let that one contract breathe a little bit more. But I told myself, okay, like I'm on the 5 second too, so we're getting little bull breaks that are lacking follow through, but buyers are still, they can still be present, right? And if I get stopped out that one contract, it's okay. Like I've de-risked, 3 contracts, and if I get stopped out, like it's a small win. So just got to remind myself to like just hold, if you think we can get to some upper targets. So yeah, we got right to the POC of this 1 minute range. I probably would have cut it at the open. We pulled back under the open, bounced, held the open, got to the overnight high, bounced a little bit, and then got back under the overnight high to the open, held the open, back to the overnight high, couldn't get acceptance above the overnight high, and back to the open. So right here, open to overnight high to open to overnight high to open. So in between that's about 20 points. So let's say you played that perfectly, like here to here, here, that's 80 points. on an NQ contract, just one contract, that's not bad. That's pretty decent. So yeah, and I think there were some hourly ranges here as well. Yeah, the hourly POC was right here. We couldn't get above it, and yeah, so kind of oscillated around a little bit here. Then we had a bear break. So yeah, once we got below the open, more convincingly, like this would have been a good play here using this 1 minute range. We got below the got to the open, couldn't quite get to this POC, broke below, and then a play off the value area low here near the open. That would have been a beautiful trade. Risking, let's say we entered at the value area low at 13,95275. Stop is at 13,5775, so right up here. To get to the value area high of this 1 minute range, like that's a really nice trade. So from here to here, that's about 30 points. It's not bad. And then we hold this value area high. We get back to this 1 minute range. We oscillate around and we break above and we get to some upper ranges. So this right here, on the hourlies, on the hourlies, it's the value area high of this 815, 817 range right up here. Yes, we're at the value area high. Where are we? Oh yeah, no, we didn't quite get there yet. We're oscillating around the POC here. Yeah, right here we're oscillating around the POC. And yeah, so yeah, this was the break here. Yeah, we bounce, oscillate around the POC of that hourly range, bull break to the value area high, and then we pull back to the POC of that, pull back below that POC, and we hold the POC of this daily range, bounce from the POC of this daily range here, and then we get to the value area high of this hourly range, and then pull back to the POC of this hourly range. So just, really nice levels today for TA. But yeah, I'll continue with the trades I took. So yeah, I went over this trade. Yeah, this trade. So I'll continue on. So once we got above the overnight high, I didn't trade any of this here, but I come back and yeah, I'm watching the charts, and this one it stung a little bit, and I'm glad I was still using the micros because I saw we got below the overnight high, got back above it. We had this little range here, and I'm just going to draw it up because I felt like it was a tiny little range, and I was just using it as a reference. But we got above the overnight high, and once I saw we got a little bit above the POC, I entered long here, and I got stopped out, I think, right to the tick of the low here at the overnight high, and then we got the bounce going. So that one was, yeah, I guess a little bit frustrating. I didn't love it because, the better trade location would be at the overnight high, or entering once we got a bull break above the overnight high, or even this little back test here, 5-second back test and hold, entering quickly, because this would allow me to get, I wouldn't have gotten risk-free, but I wouldn't have been stopped out entering closer to the overnight high, because if I enter here at 7.6 and my stop is at, 7.1, it's down here, like I'm in a much better position rather than entering here above the overnight high when buyers could test it. And again, the more likely scenario is a lower high. And so I got to keep reminding myself of these scenarios and price action scenarios along with the levels that I'm looking at. So once we hold the overnight high, we get the bull break. I see us holding the value area low of this structure here. So something like this. Yeah, I saw us holding, holding the value area low here a little bit. So I entered long here, got risk free here, and sold one more contract up here because I recognize at this point, like, let me see, where are we here on the hourly? No, we're oscillating around the hourly. So yeah, the ultimate target would have been like 14, 14.10. Yeah, 14.10, because the value area high was at 14.15. So that would have been kind of the ultimate target. But, given that I just took this loss here, I just wanted to try to get break even from that loss, which I almost did. Sold 2 contracts here. And once I saw the pullback from kind of the value area high of this structure, and we got below the POC, I just exited my last contract here, because this is not what buyers want to see. And so glad I cut it here, because I would have gotten stopped out, like 13.86. Yeah, probably would have got stopped out here, like right here at this low. So cut it here and got, made back, most of like this loss here, which was fine. And after this, I do take a trade. We get above the overnight high, and I looked for a hold of the overnight high here. Or no, actually, once I felt like we could hold the POC of this little 1 minute range, I entered long here and just got, we got above the POC. I entered long here and just got kind of quickly stopped out here. So that wasn't great. And we just oscillated around the overnight high, bounced, and I did take one trade here. Yeah, so I took this trade. Once we bounced, I thought we could hold the value area high of this little range here, which we did. We didn't get acceptance into it. And so once I saw we couldn't get too much acceptance into it, I entered long here on the minis. And because at this point, I'm thinking buyers are holding the overnight high. We had some sideways action. And actually, I also drew up this kind of range here. And I thought it could be a good trade location on the minis to at least hold this POC. Or if I enter here, my stop would have been, somewhere down here. And I think buyers could probably step in from all this sideways action here, which I thought was a good thesis given that buyers were holding the overnight high. I felt we had the possibility of getting to this value area high here of this hourly range at 14.15. But I don't know, because I was playing with the minis, it was my first trade with the minis today. I was a little skittish. And after I saw like how many points like I got quickly, I was like cutting it. Like I just cut it. I was like, all right, this added to my P&L today. Yeah, at this point, like after I took this loss, I was up like a little more than 20 MNQ points. And, on the day before like this trade before this trade, and I think after these trades, I was up like 50 MNQ points. And after I took this loss, I was up maybe 20 to 23 MNQ points, something like that. Or maybe 20 to 25, I'm not quite sure. But and I realized like, okay, like I'm pretty green after that small little win on the minis. And so, yeah, it's just mental. Like it's mental, like playing with the minis, like seeing how much profit you can get in a little amount of time. So definitely mental. I could have gotten, on that move, I could have gotten like risk-free here. And then I could have cut it like, from here. Let's see where I entered. Entered here at 982. Yeah, I could have gotten like 6 points, maybe 12 points, like on the minis with 2 contracts. But even if I were to get risk-free, 8.2 would have gotten risk-free up here, and maybe could have cut both contracts there for like a pretty decent win. But just quickly sold, and now I'm up like, on MNQ it's like 50, close to 50 MNQ points. And yeah, after this I'm just like, okay. Oh no, after this I go out and grab some coffee. With the missus, just to take a break from the computer. And I come back to this, big bull move and this big pullback, and I really like how I played this. This is like how, could be like, I don't know if I want to say bread and butter, but like my go-to type of plays, because there's just so much confluence here. And the confluence was like, we had a very aggressive bounce. Then we had a very aggressive pullback under the value area high of this this hourly level. Then we had the confluence of the value area high of this hourly range. Yeah, I meant to say hourly range. We had the confluence of that, and what else? Yeah, we had a pretty decent bull move into it, and we are looking for like a 1 minute lower high, and even um, here like yeah, even a 5 minute lower high, because we got a big pullback. So we could be scouting a 5 minute lower high to try to get back to this POC here on the daily, and just so many confluence, right? And buyers are way out of balance here. Like we just had a big overnight session. Buyers are continuing to press the issue. At least maybe some hourly consolidation could be due here. And yeah, we're getting bull breaks. If you like patterns, you could look at this like you know bull breaks lacking follow through, something like this. Um, I'm not a pattern type of after using VP, but you could something like this. I don't know. Yeah, patterns to me are a little too subjective, so that's why I don't quite. But if you are a pattern player, like you know rejecting from the here and then getting the back test of like here, that could have been a play. But yeah, I don't use patterns that much. But yeah, so we held the value area high here, and then this is when I zoom in and I'm like looking to play off ranges, right? So knowing that buyers have been in control most of the day, I was very picky here, right? Like I was like, okay, I want to see some breaks of ranges, and then looking to play the back side of it, the back test. So we had this sideways range here. I drew it up. After we get this pullback, we get the bounce, we get a sideways range here, we get another sideways range here, and I'm like, oh, those are so good to play off of. And that's what I did. So we bounced to the value area high here of this 1 minute range that, was telling a pretty good story. Got to the POC, held it. And at this point, I already have the play set up in my mind. I was like, if we bull break above this little range and we don't get much follow through, or even here, and we get to this range up here, but then we crack below this range, I'm going to look for the sell off the back test of this range. And this was a limit order. I didn't mark it in. I said, okay, if this happens, I'm going to go for the sell. And given the confluence of this value area high here, that we were holding it, it was just, yeah, like I just felt like a lot of things lined up for me. And yeah, so I had my sell limit at 1403 right here, 14003. We did get to 1400. The high was 14005. But I felt that's a good trade location, because my stop would have been here at the value area high, like above the value area high of this range. But given that sellers just cracked through it, I thought a back test of this range was reasonable. So I entered short here. Again, my stop, yeah, for 1408, and played with the minis, because to me this just a lot of things lined up. There was a lot of confluence for me. Entered short here, got risk free here, and this was kind of my biggest mistake. This could have been probably my biggest trade yet had I had a bit more conviction and letting it ride. And this is where I feel like I like doing these trade reviews, because it shows me where I'm at. It's like where the rubber meets the road. I can be like, yeah, like I have these good trade locations, but there's a whole nother mental aspect of letting a trade ride, especially if playing the minis, right? Because you're watching the profit like, oh my God, like, if I take this right now, like I've made my day, like, like that. And it's like, it feels chemical almost, because like my reasoning brain like just doesn't function as much, because I'm more so thinking about the profit that I just made rather than the targets that could be met given the TA that I have drawn up. So it's like something comes up, like my brain gets flooded with like all these emotions where like my reasoning mind just doesn't like I'm like, okay, like if I take this win right now, I'm happy, and so I take it. And so that's the piece. If I'm to leverage my wins more than my losses, I have to let my winners ride more. And so, yeah, that's part of the game. That's part of like what I'm learning right now. And it's great because this shows me myself. This is a reflection of myself and something that I can improve upon, which I think is really, really great. Um, yeah, and it's not like subjective. It's not like I'm saying it like at a subjectivity think, because I saw like in hindsight like the win that could have been, but it's because I had all these levels drawn. It's because of the confluence. It's because of the context, right? Like it's because of buyers being out of balance. The other piece, yeah, this is the other piece too. At the time that we're getting up here, we're bumping up against the value area high of developing value on NQ. So at the time, I think it was, yeah, the developing value area high, and to at least get to the POC, I think was a reasonable trade. Like from here to here to get to the POC, and I don't think I cut it at the POC, but that was another thing that added to the confluence here, because for me it wasn't very likely. Like this was a pretty high volume node, and the idea of getting a double distribution wasn't very, like it wasn't to me a likely scenario, right? Like I felt like, we could, if we stall here and like we had some good hourly ranges, we could at least head back to the POC. And it looks a little bit different here, but this was another thing that I noticed a little bit after too. Like we're at the value area high. The idea of buyers getting another leg up, I don't know how likely that was. Like, pull back from the value area high. Yeah. So, anyways, but that's another piece that I'm gonna keep reminding myself of. Like, where is developing value? And at this point, it's a little bit later in the day. We still have maybe like an hour and a half left of trading, but the idea of us getting another double distribution, like given how out of balance we were, like the idea that buyers could do this, like I don't know how likely that was, because we would have to like get a lot of volume, more significant volume. Like volume would have to be well above average, I think, to like get another double distribution and try to set up this. And given the context of like the overnight session, I was like, like that's another piece. In the moment, I wasn't super tuned into that. It was just the hourly range and these ranges here. But that's another piece I got to keep reminding myself, like where is developing value? Because that can give me some good information as well. And given the time of day, like, is it likely we'll see another distribution to the upside? And, to see that, I think we'd have to get quite a bit more volume. Okay, so that was a trade. I entered here, got risk free here, and cut it here. And that trade was in total like, let me do the math. I can probably do the math in my head. 320. Yeah, it was 16 NQ points. So this is where I just left a ton on the table. And yeah, we got down to the open. And we got to the POC here of this hourly range at 13,978. But more so than that, we got to the daily POC at 19,4050. We almost got it to the tick. The low was 19. The low was 19. Oh yeah, 1941.25. So didn't get it by 3 ticks. And obviously like these levels aren't super exact, but just looking at the levels, like it almost got it to the tick here, this 1940.50 level. So had I been more present and cognizant of what was going on, like, and not looking at my P&L, I could have been like, okay, there's way better ways to approach this trade. And I told myself as the trade was going, 1 minute stair step it, because this could be like maybe a liquidation break for buyers, given that I felt like buyers could be too long, or buyers could potentially be too long, and I had some good ranges to play off of. And if we look at the 1 minute here, And this is why I'm just like, wow, like this is why this is showing me so much, because I think my trade location was like um yeah, like right here, I think. Yeah, let me just look at that. 14. Yeah, it was right. Yep, it was right here. I could have 1 minute stair stepped it here once I got risk free, because I got risk free like here, somewhere in here. I got risk free. Could have 1 minute stair stepped it here, 1 minute stair stepped it, 1 minute stair stepped it, 1 minute, 1 minute. I probably wouldn't have gotten stopped out here. Like I probably would have given a little wiggle room on the 1 minute. And then here, I could have cut it for another 30 points. I could have gotten another 30 points on that one contract, which is huge. And if I would have been a bit more cognizant, I could have said, okay, we just got a big bear break. And I could have said, okay, move your stop above this overnight high, and even moving it here, I would have gotten another 15 points on NQ, which is still really great. I probably, given that I don't play with the mini so much, and getting a trade like that, I would have taken it at this POC. I'm pretty sure I would have done that, but this just shows me like I could have like held it to a bigger target. So like after we bounce here, I could say, okay, if we get above the overnight higher, this POC at, maybe moving it to 1381 or 1380, that's still more than I would have gotten by selling here at 13,992. Holding it here to try to get to that 13,940 level, and I probably would have front ran it like 13,944 down here, or even 13,950 would have been like fine for me at this value area low. And that's like 40 more points that I left on the table, which is huge. Like that's a huge like, holding it to that target is like, wow. Like, so this trade showed me a lot about myself, and it's something that I'm going to take with me, because yeah, it's a good learning for me. Yeah, and it'll just take practice, because it's a mental thing of watching like these profits go up, and there's so many things I can do. The 1 minute stair step, the lower high, like once we get this lower high here, setting my stop above the overnight high at that lower high, seeing if I can get a few more points, all that stuff. So yeah, so now this trade, I was a little bit annoyed. Last trade was with the micros, because I recognized that I was up on the day, and this last trade was, again, we got to the value area high of this hourly range. So I'm really interested again, because the probabilities of us getting another move higher above that range, I didn't think was very likely. So I entered my sell limit was at 14.13, and yeah, we got to it. Like I entered here, I got my sell limit here, got risk free here, sold another contract here because I think it was the value area high of this range, and I had one contract, and my contract was to ride to the overnight high. That was my target. And that overnight high matched up with this hourly POC of 815, 817 at 13,978.75. So pretty much at the overnight high. So that was my target. Like I was like, okay, I have one contract to get to this target, and I literally got stopped out to the tick. My stop was at 14.18, and to the tick got stopped out. And we got the move going right after that. I didn't feel like jumping back in, even though I could have, because it was a small win. But just training myself not to like feel that emotion of like, oh man, my trade thesis could still play out, and like trying to jump in because I'm trying to curb that emotion and that feeling. So just was like, okay, it was a nice day with this ES trade. It was a really nice trade, and got added a little bit to it here. On this trade, I think I added about 15 MNQ points to that, or actually 20, no wait, 10 MNQ points. Yeah, about 10 MNQ points. Like it's still a win. Like I'll take it for sure. Here. So after that, it was a decent day. I left with, um, just roughly do the math here. Yeah, with 23 NQ points, or like, yeah, like 200. Um, wait, not, it wouldn't be 200 points. Yeah, no, it would. Uh, yeah, 230 MNQ points. Yeah, that's not bad. All right, I'm just seeing how much I talked here. Like, I just talked a lot. Um, yeah, and I'm just coming down from that. So yeah, a lot of good learning lessons today for sure. And I think, like, you know every session I think has a like a really, and maybe I think it could be more sessions than not. There's always a spot in the session where there's just some good context and some good trades. And I felt like the end of the day was that, where like we had this hourly value area high. Um, you know, we're closer to the end of the trading day. The likelihood of us getting a bigger move up wasn't. I felt super high. We got a big kind of pullback here. The idea of a lower high, I think, was a good kind of likely scenario. So yeah, and that's the thing. That's why I like playing with micros initially, because with the micros, I do set up myself for these kind of plays, and I do set up myself for like some good learnings. And then when something like this sets up later in the day, I can be more fresh to take advantage of it. And then if I want to put on more size, given the conviction of the trade, I can do that. So yeah, yeah, it's going well. So like I'm gonna continue, just with my head to the, feet on the ground, or like, yeah, just it's like practice. It's like showing up to the game every day, showing up to practice every day, putting in the work, and doing the review, doing the morning prep, uh, preparing for the day and looking at possible scenarios, and preparing the 1 minute ranges, and the daily ranges, hourly, 1 minute, and just to look at ES on these hourlies, because I have this ES freestyle chart, like beautiful. Like, I don't play ES as much, but like held the POC here, bounced, like we probably held this little hourly range. No, we held let me grab this freestyle here. I think I drew it up a bit more here. Yeah, we held the POC of this range here, which probably is this hourly range. It was in the overnight session, so I don't love it as much. But yeah, it was like the value area high of this hourly range, that happened in the overnight session. But more so, like, it was the POC of this range. So like, it's all good stuff. So yeah, ES, like, that was, some good story there. And yeah, so this is the range that I have on kind of this freestyle chart here. And yeah, held the POC and bounced back to the value area high. So yeah, this is why I like VP, and along with price action analysis, I have to keep reminding myself of that a bit more, which is kind of what I went over in the morning trades, just looking at like likely scenarios on the 1 minute and like 5 second. Like, I kind of look at the 5 second sometimes, like the 1 minute, like I'm able to picture, like, is it a big enough pullback on the 5 second? Like it's like a pullback on the 1 minute. And I am watching the 1 minute chart on the hourlies as well. So that gives me some good kind of clarity as I'm trading on the day. I probably could observe it maybe a tiny bit more, but I'm usually just looking at where levels are holding. And sometimes I draw ranges on this hourly here because they just stand out to me. And that gives me a bit more kind of reference as well. So using it all, right? Like, it's just using all these pieces to put myself in good scenarios to benefit from these levels, and benefit from context, and benefit from like that game theory of like, what are buyers trying to do, what are sellers trying to do, how good of a job are they doing. And yeah, it's all, that's all I'm looking at. Like, all I'm looking at, like, it is, I think trading is like the closest to a sport without being physical. Like, because there is game theory to it. And I was talking to my wife, and she said, yeah, maybe like chess. And I was like, yeah, maybe it's kind of like that, where it's like you're trying to read your opponent, you're trying to read what each side is trying to do, and kind of like, trading is a bit different because it's you're looking at both sides, so it's like you're more the observer of what each side is trying to do, and then make plays based off that of what's uh, 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 based on what one side is trying to do and seeing how good of a job they do, and if they don't do that job, then going with the other side type of thing, and then using levels and day time frame reference and congruence with all that, and price action analysis with higher hourly higher lows, 4 hour higher lows, and things like that, and seeing like, are we out of balance from yesterday, like are buyers looking to press the issue, and all that good stuff. So yeah, a lot of good learnings. I'm going to quickly go over the sectors and tech like very quickly, because this is my longest trade review yet, but just for myself to get some context of where we are on the daily. So yeah, and SPY got a daily bounce, so I'm gonna call this, we didn't really lose the daily uptrend convincingly, so it feels like a double bottom here at this pivot. So yeah, we broke it by a little bit, so yeah, you could call that a daily. Let me go to the 2 day. No, we're still in a 2 day uptrend. We haven't lost the 2 day higher low. So yeah, I'm just calling this maybe a hold, like a little double bottom. It was like a little bear break, no follow through. So I think buyers are still good. You can look at it a few ways. Like maybe it is a low and we're bouncing from there. But we will be scouting an daily lower high, because I think, yeah, this is enough pullback to scout a daily lower high. And yeah, QQQ. And then I want to see the weekly real quick. Yeah, we haven't had maybe monthly. No, I think buyers still look pretty decent. Like we're getting weekly uptrends, weekly higher low. So yeah, I think buyers are still pretty decent. QQQ, like, I mean, if QQQ is doing this, then I don't see buyers having a lot of issues at the moment. And look at the ratio chart is like at freaking excuse my language, at yearly highs over 52-week highs, and that's impressive. Like that's buyers, yeah. So we shall see. So QQQ looking real good. We do have this range up here that I have drawn, so buyers may be looking to get back into it. Let's look at XLF. So this is notable. Like I think for the broader market to really get some like, okay, like this could be, I do not like the term bull market or bear, like that's just does not mean anything to me, aside from like it's a feeling, like it's just like a contextual feeling where it's like like it's like people with money on the sidelines, you feel like they're gonna put money into them. That's the best way I can describe that. Like rather than money leaving the market, people on the sidelines are gonna be looking to put money into the market, and that's it. That's all that that's it. Because on any given day, we are looking at contextual daily higher lows and lower highs. Like there's a lot happening during the day. Like and that's the only contextual piece that I have for that, is like people that have money on the sidelines that weren't in the market before, given like this boost in tech with like NVDA and all that, maybe they want to put money in the market. So that's it. Like, and that keeps biases in check for sure. Like, yeah. So anyways, not going to go too much into that, but like, yeah. So XLF, like buyers do want XLF to hold here, like to get a bounce here, so that, we can have more conviction in the broader market, gaining some momentum, to the upside. If XLF doesn't join tech, and helps the broader market, it's still not like all signals go. We want tech to bounce. We want XLV to bounce. Yeah. So like, okay. So let me go through the sectors. IWM. Yeah, got some pullback, but a decent bounce near the end of the day. We will be looking for an hourly lower high, but we could be shaping up a daily bounce, maybe to this value area high here. So it's a nice lower wick there for buyers. XLE, nice lower wick. We are scouting a daily higher low on XLE. So buyers want to get above this value area high for that to happen convincingly, to maybe try to get to this POC here. XBI. XBI with a big bearish day. So I don't follow growth that much, but let me just try to like ARKK, because XBI was leading growth for a long time. Nope, ARKK is pulling back. PLTR had a pullback. So yeah, growth, like with tech being so strong and growth pulling back, like that's interesting. So yeah, not sure how much tech is getting the memo at the moment. And Bitcoin, I guess I'd have to look at Bitcoin as well. Yeah, growth not quite getting the memo yet, right? Like Friday, Thursday, no, Monday. Yeah, like this is, while NQ was doing that, what it was doing, like this is what Bitcoin was doing. Yeah, Bitcoin was doing this while NQ in the overnight session was like, doing really well. Yeah, no, growth isn't getting the memo yet. But we'll see. Maybe it could be a laggard. So yeah, sectors. Okay, XBI, pretty bearish day. XLV. So this POC I think is going to be crucial for the broader market and XLV buyers. And if we hold this value area high to get to this value area low here, it could be the daily bounce shaping up. We do have a value area, I think it's a value area high from a value area low from this range. Yeah, buyers want to at least get to there. But if XLV starts its daily bounce and XLF starts its daily bounce, it could give NQ a bit of a breather, where NQ doesn't have to chug so hard to like get everything going. And so yeah, that's kind of what I'll be looking for. Maybe rotation, maybe money goes from tech to XLF and XLV, which are kind of the like weaker sectors at the moment. Yeah, these sectors were down 1%. XLF was down pretty flat. IWM down 0.78%, XLE 1.78%, XBI down 2.61%, XLU down negative 1.34%, and yeah, and SPY was still, it was semiconductors and tech were holding up SPY, which is like really notable, like how much weighting tech has in the broader market. But we knew that, I think, right? Yeah, but it's just cool to see and visualize. So yeah, so XLU still pretty weak. We got under this value area low, so next target probably, yeah, let me draw this up here just so we have it. I'm gonna grab all this. Down here. Yeah, we almost got to the POC, the value area high here, not quite. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, so yeah, I think sellers should be targeting, if they hold this value area high, they may be back to this POC, but maybe sellers get to this POC down here, which was the low here, and then if we get below this POC looking at this value area low. All right, but yeah, XLU, excuse me, pretty weak, setting weekly lower highs here at the moment. SMH, wow, like yeah, NVDA, like SMH, huge gap up open. Not much to say about this. We will be scouting a daily higher low. Notable that we stopped right at the value area high of this range. I think that was one of the scenarios I might have mentioned in my morning prep. I think I went over the sectors in my morning prep, but held the value area high here. Yeah, we held this POC here today and got to the value area high. I mean, that's just notable. That's just really nice. Like holding this POC, we back test the POC almost to the tick. The low was 13726. The POC is at 13725. So held it here and bounced to this value area high. You know, that's nothing to snuff at. That's what's the percentage there? That's over 2%, I think. 2.42%. Yeah. So awesome. God, I'm loving TA. I'm loving that I'm doing this right now. God, yeah, just really into it. So, yeah. Yeah, we bounced that value area high. Next level for buyer, I think NVDA's in blue sky breakout. So, yeah, let me draw up this range on SMH. This is very notable here, right here, and gonna draw this out here. Right here. Okay, cool. So next target for buyers, if we get acceptance above this value area high from this range, next target for buyers should be the value area low at 147.5. Let me just get the value here. 14751. Yeah. So that should be the next target for buyers. All right, quick tech, longest trade review ever / market recap. Quick prep on tech. NVDA isn't, yeah, well, let me go one by one. And I am going to try to go quick through this because this is getting very long. All right, so Apple, oh no, and did I grab the right charts? Don't tell me. Okay, cool. This would be very sad if TradingView does this sometimes. It removes my levels. No, okay, cool. What ticker was I just on? Oh, SPY. Okay, cool. Thank God. I mean, thank goodness, yeah. Yeah, thank God, why not? All right, so Apple, we will be scouting a daily lower high. You know, we did have this, it was kind of we didn't lose the daily uptrend. So the low 1742, nope. You know, held the low by like 10 cents. So yeah, Apple getting a daily bounce here, but we will be scouting a daily lower high on Apple and maybe off this value area low here for Apple. And Apple's just been kind of beasting. Yeah, weekly higher lows through and through, like just really nice there for Apple, but could be a bit of a head and shoulders for Apple. So we'll be scouting that. Daily lower highs on watch using some of these daily value areas as references. Right, yeah, we didn't get acceptance above the POC, so maybe sellers are looking for this value area low to then maybe get to this little bit of range here, this value area. But notable that we couldn't test it, so yeah, we'll see. Amazon, still healthy, you know, setting a daily higher low right here. So this POC is going to be key for Amazon. Buyers don't want acceptance below this. If acceptance below this, eyes on this value area low here. But, you know, the retracement isn't enough yet to be too concerned. We're not even at, we did get 0.5 retracement, so we shall see. It could go either way here for Amazon. Yeah, so I could say more, but I'm going to try to move quickly. And Netflix could be setting a quick daily lower high, right? So we set one here. We could be setting another one here off some daily levels because, you know, it's a big kind of selling wick. We held this value area low here from back here. Held the value area low, couldn't find acceptance into it, and are pulling back here. So sellers should be looking for this value area low here at 35371. And if acceptance below that value area low, eyes on this value area high at 34603. Okay, Google, yeah, Google, yeah, couldn't find acceptance back into this little range from back here. We couldn't find acceptance into it, so I'm thinking sellers want the value area high of this little range from back here, and it's roughly at 122.33. So keeping an eye on that. Microsoft beasting still, got acceptance back into this range here, and yeah, so buyers should be looking for this POC at 355.02, 335.02, excuse me, which is, you know, like 2% away. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, we do something like this, hold this value area low to then try for the POC, or buyers just go for it. We'll see. Yeah, because I think Microsoft, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with some weekly consolidation. Monthly consolidation wouldn't be too surprising either, like for a monthly high or low. Okay, Meta, yeah, kind of indecision candle here, but I think buyers are still looking for this value area low here of this daily range from right here, which is at 258.70. If not, if we don't get there, then sellers should be looking for this value area high here, at 241.54, but I think buyers should be trying for that there. All right, and we're kind of in this like gap area, but this would need to be broken through first. There, I think it's AI, like Microsoft, Meta. I think Meta has some AI. Microsoft, Google, might be like this whole AI kind of thing. But yeah, so Tesla, interesting with Tesla. We did get a daily higher low here, so this will be key for buyers. But today we couldn't get to this value area high, and it looks like we just oscillated around this POC a bit. We had a bear break, couldn't get below this value area low, then bounced a little bit. So if we zoom in here for Tesla, yeah, we broke below this value area low, couldn't find acceptance below it, got to the POC, held, you know, that would have been a nice trade from here, you know, looking at the 1 minute. Once getting above that value area low here with the back test, looking to get to this POC, that's what is that? That's like 2%, 1.5%. Not too shabby though. All right, cool. So Tesla, yeah, and we oscillated around the POC, bear break, couldn't quite get to the value area low here, so that's notable. Bounce back to the POC. So maybe buyers are looking, if we get back above the POC, buyers are looking for this value area high here at 187.40. All right, and then we have this range. Oops, we have this range up here. Yeah, wow, this is so much fun. Well, okay, so yeah, NVDA blue sky breakout. Yep, highest level NVDA has ever seen. And with a huge gap up open, giving tech a boost in general. Like, yeah, it was just, yeah, but I mean, look at that volume, whoa. So that could be a climax top with the volume, huge gap down open. Yeah, it'd be crazy. If we gap up tomorrow, that'd be crazy. That would be like, no, I don't see a gap up too likely. But yeah, we'll see. So that's a lot. That's the highest volume NVDA. Nope, we had some higher volume here. Yeah, here. Well, relative to the dollar amount, that is the highest volume NVDA has ever seen. 154 million, and here we saw 251 million, but at a much lower price. Wow. Okay. So NVDA, yeah, just, you know, that's impressive. From here, that is just, wow, off earnings, 30% to the high on a name like this, on a stock like this, a stock that like NVDA weighting on QQQ, QQQ ETF. NVDA, top 10 holdings. NVDA makes up 5% of NQ. Yeah, that's impressive. Microsoft makes up 13%, and Microsoft was beasting. Apple 12%. Wow. Amazon 6.81%. Google 4.18%. Tesla makes up 3.29%. All right, so yeah, so back to tech. So Apple 0.6%. Yeah, most of tech was up. NVDA up 24.37% from yesterday because of the earnings. Yeah, so tech was looking good. Only Amazon and Netflix were down a bit, but Apple was up a little bit, 0.67%. And yeah, so don't have much levels for NVDA. I want to see how it traded today. Yeah, just pretty much sideways. Got an hourly higher low and then just went sideways most of the day. But yeah, I mean, even on the 1 minute, let's look at some ranges here. Like something like this. Yeah, playing off the POC here would have been nice for a quick, probably 1%. Oh, 2%, quick 2% there for that lower high. Yeah. But looks like sellers were playing off pre-market because we did have a decent range here in pre-market. But not too much volume, but rejected right from the POC here. And sellers just jumped on that. For 4.46%. Not bad. And if we pull back more in the overnight session, sellers could be all right to at least try to get back to no, I don't think that would happen. I think like we'll see. Like this is blue sky breakout. Yeah, 5 minute oversold conditions definitely on watch. You know, for the hourly higher low. Did we get 5 minute oversold? Let me just add the RSI indicator here because this is just a quick little reference here. I think we did get 5 minute oversold today, did we? No, not even close. What was it? No, not even close. But 5 minute higher low will be on watch, and it probably could match. No, that's way too much there. Okay, I'm not gonna spend more time here. I could bring out the RSI levels just to kind of see where they fall, but not gonna do that. Maybe I will. RSI levels. Would it be this one? Yeah, 5 minute. Oh, that's hourly. Hourly oversold would line up with this here, but 5 minute oversold. So maybe we did get 5 minute oversold. Yeah, we did. Oh yeah, we did. So let me remove this RSI here. Yeah, we got 5 minute oversold on the morning, and then that was the low here. And then, you know, a nice play could have been here. But yeah, TA is just, I'm really enjoying it. But yeah, that's all I got for today. This is officially my longest trade review ever. Yeah, gonna come back tomorrow with the same thing, do the morning prep, and just continuously learn from my trading session each day. And yeah, that's it for today. Glad I went over that rundown. If tech starts to pull back a little bit, like XLF and XLV, I think do have to pick up some slack for the broader market. If not, I'm not sure. It's not like bulls. I don't think would be completely out of the woods yet, unless XLV and XLF can pick up a little bit of slack, while tech takes a little bit of a breather and gets a little bit of consolidation. All right, but yeah, loving TA. Just really, not excited because I don't want to get like the emotion idea, but like just really into it. And so I think I'll be doing this more every day. I could talk about this for like ever. Like, I mean, I just enjoy it. So yeah, just really cool that I noticed that about myself today, that I enjoyed a lot, and talking about the different sectors in tech and what I'm looking at on ES and NQ. And there's even more. Like I could look at IWM or like RTY and the Dow YM. So yeah, gonna see how this evolves, but super geeked and super geeked to like just keep jumping into it and letting it evolve and like just yeah, excited to just kind of be in it and talking about it. So all right, so that is my trade review and kind of market recap for the day and my kind of look and analysis and view of ES and NQ. And so yeah, thanks everyone for watching. For ES and NQ, what I will be watching for, I'll be watching this value area high to see if buyers get to this value area high of this range. So looking at the value area high of this range, see if sellers can get here. Yeah, we do have this little hourly here, which yeah coincides with this value area high. And NQ on the daily, yeah, see if NQ can hold this POC to get to the value area high here at 1498. Yeah, and if acceptance below this POC, I'm looking at the value area high of this 83 yeah 83 811 22 range. Is that the one? No, 83 811. Oh no, back here. Is that the one I said? No, this is a different one. Maybe I didn't mark up the date correctly. But yeah, I'll be looking at that. Oh no, 37 316 range. If below this POC, yeah, looking at this 83 811 range, which is right here. Yeah. So I'll be looking at the value area high of that at 13753 if sellers get acceptance below this POC. If no acceptance below this POC, eyes on the value area high at 1498 with, you know, obviously looking, or not obviously, but looking at hourly levels in confluence and in congruence with that, along with day time frame references. Buyers would need acceptance above this hourly POC. If not, we could be looking at the value area low here on NQ at 3915.25. So yeah, I'll go over all of this tomorrow in the morning prep. We'll see what the overnight session looks like and how it shapes up. But yeah, that's all I got for today. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next trade review. Thank you. Bye.